It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at Belmont Park. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool, plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6. Next mandatory payout date, Sunday, October 27th. Visit nyra.com/Empire6 for complete details.
With Sunday being closing day here at Belmont Park, the entire Empire 6 carryover will be given away. It should be upwards of $250,000, a mandatory payout on closing day, and that is the day you want to play this Empire 6. Starts out in race number 4 of our 9-race card, and that's the Chelsea Flower. It's on the turf. We've got 2 scheduled turf races in the sequence. Obviously, some talk of rain in the area. Hopefully, we'll be able to keep these stakes on. It is closing day. It's a big field. It's a good field. And the horse to beat, and the horse going to be an A on everybody's tickets, is the 2, Princessa Caroline. This half-sister to Lady Eli did not take a lot of money in her debut, but boy, did she run. She ran like she should have been a very short price in here. I don't like the horse that she easily beat, Laughable. Came back as a heavy favorite earlier this week and did not run particularly well, but maybe it's apples and oranges. This was a sensational effort, and she is way the horse to beat. Many people will lean on her and maybe even single her or put her as their main A. She's an A for me. But she's not the only A in this sequence. I think the 1, Enola Gay, has to be no worse than a B and maybe an A also. Sugar Gay does not win with a lot of first-time starters, especially on the turf, but he shipped Enola Gay down to Kentucky Downs, and he meant business with this homebred for Joe Allen, and she was impressive in getting the victory. Got a very good trip, but this was a nice effort. Julian Lepru gave her a perfect ride. Jose Lescano has the mount in the Chelsea Flower, and Enola Gay is the main competition to Princess Caroline. And the question is, who are the other horses you want to use in this sequence? Well, I would want to use the 6, Speak to Me of Summer, for Christophe Lamont. Christophe Lamont has done well in the past with horses she's shipped out of town that broke their maidens with relatively slow figures, and they have improved significantly in subsequent efforts in New York. And I think Speak to Me of Summer could be one of those horses. I'll throw her in as a B or a C, and also Bradenberry, the 7, for Graham Motion. Want to have her somewhere on my tickets. Graham Motion has great numbers with European shippers. I know this one didn't run sensationally overseas, but the truth is she ran it at Newmarket, and Graham Motion's numbers are too good to ignore. So 1 and 2, they're the main horses. 6 and 7, they're the backups on the turf. This race comes off the turf. Your guess is as good as mine. We'll see who gets left. We'll see what players, but hopefully it will stay on the turf. Race number 5, these are maidens, and they're going a mile, and the horse you'll look at here, the 4, Spice Road, is going to be an A. Spice Road actually broke his maiden on a muddy sealed track, but was disqualified. It was legitimate disqualification. He likely would have finished second had he not fouled the horse that ran second. Having said that, he's been consistent, but he's not finishing first, except for the race he was disqualified. In this race, though, he was chasing outside, and the rail was very good on September 12th. The horse who beat him was a nice runner for Chad Brown, a second-time star that came back with a win. Spice Road is the horse to beat, and you know he can handle a wet track. The 1, One-Eyed Jack, though, would be an A for me. 1 and 4 are my A's here. One-Eyed Jack had a bit of a trip, somewhat of an excuse, going 1.1 miles at Saratoga. Thought ran okay, needing a race first time out at 6 furlongs at Belmont. Comes back, 1-turn mile should be perfect. I like One-Eyed Jack. 1 and 4 are the A's, and a B would be the 6, Kid Bourbon, who's stretching out, second off a layoff in his 3rd career start for trainer Mark Hennig. He ran into a buzzsaw in Free Enterprise, who ran a stakes quality race to break his maiden last time out, and I think Kid Bourbon is a player here as well. 1-4 A's, the 6, Kid Bourbon, is a B in the 2nd leg of this Empire 6. Race number 6, this is one you're probably going to want to spread. Now, a lot of people are going to use Cash Offer, and I think you have to use her. She's the main speed in this race, and you know she can handle a wet track. But I also want to show you Puffery. Puffery, who's coming back as well, blew the break. Broke about 2 lengths slow. Now, I thought got a very good ride and a good trip after that, settled in down the rail, and when we pick the race up top of the stretch, you're going to see that Puffery actually will do well, but we'll show the whole race. I'm going to talk over the race, though, while we talk about it. You got to use Cash Offer. She's an A in here. Puffery is somewhere between a B and C for me, but here are some other horses. I want to have Sunshine Gal as an A. You know I do, because I love Sunshine Gal, and one of these days she's not going to get a bad trip, and she's actually going to win a race, and she can handle a wet track. So the 8, Sunshine Gal's an A. Cash Offer's an A. I'm also going to have the 2 Wadadley Princess and the 3 Hayfield. They're no worse than B's for me in the play. Maybe they're A's, they're B's. Depends how much money you want to spend. And Puffery's in there as well. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9. All of these horses are players. Now, you look at Cash Offer here. I don't think she benefited from the rail. Puffery got a very good trip after the bad break, and that's why I don't want to move her up too much. I don't really think she's good enough, so she's no better than a C for me. But Cash Offer has got to be an A for me. So once again, let's go through it. My A's, they would be the probably 3, 5, and 8. 3 Hayfield, 5 Cash Offer, and 8 Sunshine Gal. B, Wadadley Princess. And I'm going to say my C's are 1 Spring Drama off a layoff for Kira McLaughlin, and 9 Puffery as well. This one is wide open, I think much more so than the first 2 legs. Let's move on to race number 7. And this is a stake. It's the Pumpkin Pie. And it looks to me like there are probably 2 A's in this race. We'll take a look at Shalone, who actually finished second in last year's Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Dirt Sprint. She was poised to have a very, very big 5-year-old season after this kind of effort. The problem was, it was not one of the more memorable runnings of the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Dirt Sprint, and she has been extremely disappointing so far this year. You've got to use Shalone because at the end of the day, she's good enough just to beat these horses, but I absolutely don't trust her. I didn't love her effort last time out at Keeneland. She's an A, but you got to have others. Now, Miss Locust Point is another one you probably want to have as an A in here. And here she is beating Last True Love in the Regret. They finished 2nd and 3rd, actually. Now, Miss Locust Point is 9 for 20 lifetime, 15 times hitting the board. But she struggled a bit recently and hasn't been able to win her last 4 starts. And she's got to go 7. But this is a horse who won the Barbara Fritchie, and I believe she did it in the slop a couple of years ago. So we know she can handle a wet track, and we know she can get 7 furlongs. And the key to Ms. Locust Point in here is she's probably going to be loose in the lead, and that's going to make a difference. So the 6 and 7, Ms. Locust Point and Shalone are A's. The question is, who else do you want on your big tickets? Well, I want to have 2 horses. I want Philanthropic, who might not be good enough, but she's going to be forwardly placed, and she appears to be improving for Jason Service, and I'm not letting that guy beat me. And the number 4, Pink Sands, is one I also want to use for Shug McGay. You know me, I'm a sucker for a turn back. She's going to have to run the best race she's ever run, but I like her turning back, and I think she's sort of a little bit improved. She had no real chance last time out, so I'll give her one more chance. Hope she can improve stretching out. So the 6 and 7 are A's. I would say 3 and 4 are B's in here, and maybe the 5, Majestic Reason, is a B or C for me in this Pumpkin Pie. And remember, it really depends on how much you can afford to put in and where you want to spread and where you want to single. I'm just going through and giving you some thoughts on these races. And then you come to the Zagora at 1.5 miles. This race is absolutely wide open. Let's start with Fool's Gold, who won the first of our route races up in Saratoga. Keep in mind, it's a turf race. Fool's Gold, to me, has to be used. She did not run well last time in the Glens Falls. It was a tougher field than this, and she's been improving. She can handle the distance. She can be forwardly placed. I think Fool's Gold has to be an A in your play. Another horse who I think has to be an A in your play is Homeland Security, the number 2, and the number 8, Lemon Zip. We'll go right to a replay of their race, and this is when they ran the Unbridled Essence at Monmouth. I know, it was a 4-horse field. Homeland Security won this race last year, and what's important about that is she did it in a soft turf. And it's pretty likely we run this race in the turf, it's going to be a bit of a bog. So you got to use her. She handles the distance, and she handles soft going. Lemon Zip is dramatically improved for Niall Seville. She has been very good this year. She is good going long. 2, 6, and 8 are A's on my ticket. The 7, We Gets to Monies, is going to be somewhere in my play. I have no idea if she's a 1.5 mile horse, but Christophe Lamont is deciding to stretch her out rather than run her against New York breds. Not that she was going to beat 55 last weekend. An experiment. I got to have her as a B or C somewhere, but there are others that can win here. The 3, Pamina, is probably a C. The 4, Sky Full of Stars. The 5, Lady Montour, who hasn't been good this year. They're all horses that are less than impossible in this race. This is a big, wide-open field. Now, if it comes off the turf, there is no doubt that it gets a little bit easier. A, it'll be a smaller field, and B, this horse, another broad, we're taking a look at winning our top flight back in April, is going to be a heavy favorite. Now, I don't like her recent form. It was obviously against better horses. There's no Elates, and there's no Midnight Bisous in here. But she also got beat a pole in those races. Having said that, there's very, very little dirt for him, and that's being kind outside of another broad. So if this race should unfortunately come off the turf, from the pick 6 standpoint, the Empire 6, it gets a lot easier because another broad is a major player. I will tell you a horse, though, that I want to use if it comes off the turf and the track is sloppy, and that's the 5 Lady Montour. I really hope they leave her in if this race should unfortunately come off the grass, because she has a pedigree that says she should love slop. Give her a chance if she comes off the turf. Lady Montour 5 will be on my tickets if it comes off the turf. Otherwise, she's no better than a C. A wide open running of the Zagora, the 5th leg of this Empire 6, and we close it out in race number 9, where we're going to look at another video, and we're going to look at the start, actually, of the video, and we'll look at the 4 High School Crush, who ends up finishing 3rd in this race, and is the 7th last race. High School Crush is going to basically get shuffled out of the running early and lose all position. You see kind of coming in there and just going to kind of get a tough trip a little bit early and probably farther back than she'll be in Sunday's running. We'll pick it up top of the stretch. High School Crush will run 2nd. 3rd. Cruising Strong will run 3rd, and Top Hat Invasion run 4th. I believe that High School Crush, the 7, and the 6 Cruising Strong are A's and B's, maybe both A's, in this Empire 6, once again, depending on your budget. The other horse, though, I really like in here is the 8 Welsh Gold, who ran against a much better field of maiden special weight New York breds first time out and had a big wide trip, and I think is a player in this race. So my A's are the 7 High School Crush and the 8 Welsh Gold, and maybe the 6 Cruising Strong, no worse than a B. The 10 Our Lady of Winlock, a first-time star for the red-hot Mike Maselli, would be no worse than a C, maybe even a B on my tickets. It depends on how much you can spend. But at the end of the day, you got to spend something. It's a mandatory payout. The pool's going to be strong. It's going to be a very good equity bet. You don't have a lot of them at the racetrack, and this is one you want to play. Mandatory payout, closing day, Sunday at Belmont Park, October 27th in the Empire 6th. That was a bit of a run-through. Best of luck in your play.